Hi guys, Nikki here. This video is a little different from my other ones. It's not really INTJ related. It's more like a life update. I don't know who will even be interested in this video because my presence here on YouTube is like microscopic. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about this because I have been very candid about mental health and my experiences with mental health and a lot of the things that I've gone through. And if I'm being honest, I have not been feeling well. It's not unusual for me to just have these periods where I completely freaking burn out. And on top of that, I do have chronic migraines. Not uncommon, but I've noticed a lot of people don't know exactly what chronic migraines are, how they feel, and how they really impact your life to the point where you have to be on medication, and that medication doesn't exactly make them go away, or even really decrease it in my experience. So here lately, I just have been so tired, so unbelievably tired, physically and mentally completely worn out. I love to work out and I usually really enjoy it. It's my creative space. It's how I decompress and I daydream and I think of things to write about. Rather, it's poetry, just little short stories that I show no one. And it really just kickstarts my inspiration, and I haven't even had the energy to do that. I haven't really been hanging out with my friends. Now, my friends have been friends with me for a very long time, so even if they don't exactly understand how my mood disorder and my migraines exactly are, they're at the very least accepting, and they don't get angry at me when it takes me 3 days to a week to respond to a text message, or they haven't seen me in a month. They get it, especially the friends I have that have kids. As much as I love kids and as much as I love my god babies, I just can't, in the state of mind, be around it. Because it takes every ounce of strength and effort that I have to do the most simplest mundane things, like wash the dishes and vacuum. I have an allergy to my cats, and I have 2 cats, so it's really important for me that I clean and I vacuum and I wash everything frequently. And when I feel like this, it's just anybody that suffers from mental health or anything that impacts you physically, like a migraine. I don't know what it is, but it's like when you feel miserable, even when something's making you feel more miserable, it takes so much effort just to get up and fix it. Whenever my energy is really low, I do my best to direct it in places where it needs to be. And unfortunately, spending time with friends, which does affect my reserves, and being around kids, which affects my reserves, and even talking to people kind of fall to the side. And then, of course, I have a full-time job. If we're just talking about the migraine aspect, my migraines are like going up and down a hill. They last for a really long time. That's why they're called chronic migraines. It's always focused on the left side of my head, so I can tell the difference between just a headache and a migraine, or if I'm just having sinus problems, because of the way my migraines are for my entire life. It's always been consistently on the left side of my head. But it's like going up a slope really slow, and then I hit the peak and it slams into my face and it knocks me down, and I can't eat, I can barely think, I can barely freaking see. It's rough, and then I come down and just to go back up again. And as of right now, I haven't really found anything that's helpful. There's a time when I did injections and different kinds of medications, beta blockers. Yeah, so Just a quick fact about migraines. A lot of the things you read about on the internet that could potentially help a migraine, like getting a certain ear piercing, most people with chronic migraines will tell you that that didn't work for them. I don't really need advice down in the comments. I do have doctors and professionals, and then, of course, my own research, but it does impact me a lot. I've had to cut synthetic sugar out of my diet, like things like candy and soda and stuff like that, which I'll still indulge in on occasion. But when I consume it, it seems to speed up my progression with migraine in a very unpleasant way. Of course, things like sunlight, flashing lights. I get motion sick really easy. Anything that affects my eyes or jostles my head around gives me a migraine. One time at work, a coworker playfully hit my head with papers. That triggered a migraine. I've been through a lot of different tests. There's nothing abnormal in my brain other than the fact that I just have chronic migraines, which means the blood vessels in my brain swell, whereas with headaches, they contract. On top of that, I've read articles and studies about how people who have chronic migraines, cluster headaches, or really anything that physically impacts them is, of course, going to emotionally impact them. Because how can you be happy and be active and honestly really care for yourself when you feel like shit? When every step you take hurts, when you feel nauseous, when you can barely even see, when just moving your head like this, it chronic migraines feel like a chest burster trying to come out of your brain instead of your chest. They really hurt. And that's not even the worst of it. A lot of what I'm describing is actually aura, which is, the nausea, not being able to properly see, and, dizziness. For me, I experience both pretty equally. A lot of pain and a lot of dizziness. But like I was saying, it's really hard to be happy and upbeat and feel good and to be around people and feel like complete and utter shit, especially when you feel like shit as much as I do. And I remember I had a manager way back when I was in management, before I left that behind for a cozy office job. He would tell me, Nikki, your energy is just so low. You're always so down. Now keep in mind, I wasn't dealing with anybody at these moments. I wasn't putting on a front, putting on a mask, because I wasn't dealing with anyone. I had no customers in front of me. I wasn't talking to my staff. It was just me standing there in my own bubble, doing my job, looking over reports, making sure there was no cash discrepancies, or replying to comments online. And I think that's a really big reason why in my videos talking about being an INTJ, I have talked about putting on a mask. Of course, there's only so much I can really talk about in these 10 to 20 minute videos. I usually try to keep them more so around, 15 minutes, because who really wants to hear me talk for a really long time? I know I don't. But one thing I didn't mention in my video where I'm talking about INTJ mental health, I mentioned how I was on medication for a certain amount of time, but I didn't really talk too much about why. So I mentioned earlier in this video that I do have a mood disorder. When I get triggered, I start having very bad nightmares. And anybody that suffers from mental health, which is probably all of you because it's not an uncommon thing, unfortunately, when you stop sleeping, all hell breaks loose. And when every time you sleep, you have really bad nightmares, like to the point where you're aware that you're dreaming and you're aware that you're having a nightmare, and you're stuck in loop, witnessing a horrible thing happening over and over and over, stuck in a loop. You kind of don't want to sleep. So that point in time when I was medicated had a lot to do with that. I couldn't sleep. I my anxiety was through the roof because I couldn't sleep. I just was in a really bad state of mind where my usual things I do to manage everything wasn't working because I wasn't sleeping. because I just have a lot of stresses going on. I had a job offer right before the pandemic hit, which I lost out on. It was a promotion and more money. And where I work, the job market's completely shut down. And it started opening back up of what I do, which is business administration, finance. So I've been doing applications again. I am very career driven. I'm very focused. I'm very ambitious. When you have anxiety, it's like your brain pew pew pew, constantly in a circle, which you're probably seeing in this video. When I watch this back to edit it, I'm sure I'm gonna wonder what I'm talking about. But I just felt it was important for me to sit here and just talk to you guys, let you know where I've been, even though this isn't an INTJ focused video, which honestly not all of my videos will be, but I'm okay. I'm not in a dangerous, place mentally. It's nothing I can't handle. I'm just really tired. I woke up today at 11, just long enough to eat some yogurt and an apple. And then I went to sleep until 1 p.m. in the afternoon when my sisters texted me mad at me because I canceled our plans. Jokingly mad, not actually mad. And it's just having migraines. I honestly, personally feel like my migraines is a big reason why I have mental health issues. It's hard to be happy and to have a level mood when you feel like your brain's gonna explode. I remember begging my mom to let me stay home because I felt so sick, but because I didn't have a fever and because I didn't have a cold or anything like that, I had to go to school, and then, you know, school fucking sucked. And, so there was that, and it was noisy, and there was lights, and it just, it's really not any easier being an adult, but at least I'm aware that I have chronic migraines. I'm aware that I do have a mood disorder. I'm aware of how to best manage those. So my primary doctor did give me a Tylenol caffeine medication prescription, which of course isn't enough as well. It doesn't really help prevent anything. It just helps me in the moment as far as the physical pain goes. So I do plan on going to my neurologist soon, hopefully. I have a few ideas that I'd like to talk about to see if we can figure out something that works for me. So, yeah, that's just a general life update, kind of why I haven't really been present, other than just being very busy. And I hope you guys liked listening to me ramble and probably talk in circles. But I'll be sure to come out with a new video soon. If there's anything you'd like for me to talk about, of course, leave it down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.